funding matters, but funding alone won't address those big issues. Rather, I think there are three critical aspects for the sector that address the scale and the scope of change needed. One will be to address some of those human resource issues, to create more of a pipeline of talent, of training and development. By demographics alone and by sort of the burnout of COVID, we're facing that huge loss of leadership at the top. We know that young people are interested. I see that in our own program with the Master of Philanthropy Nonprofit Leadership at Carleton, but they expect to go into positions where they're going to have opportunities for training and development. So we need to cultivate what we have, provide those opportunities. We need to create visibility for the sector as a whole so it becomes an employer of choice, address organizational cultures so they create that kind of flexibility and interest, and finally, particularly for frontline and care workers, more competitive salaries. So there's a bundle of things that are essential around our human resource component. The second is that the sector and social service organizations need to be much better at policy engagement and advocacy. When governments are going to be in the process of trying to figure out how to do things differently, and they're going to need help with that, and they're going to need good evidence-based, experience-based advice from the sector. Data from the Charity Insights Project shows that probably only 50% nationwide, it's actually lower in Ontario, 50% don't engage in advocacy, only about 40% in Ontario do. And why not? They don't see it as part of their mission. Others advocate for them. They don't have the expertise, the time, or the funding. And I would suggest that we need to make advocacy more part of our organizational mission to really be able to engage in effective, meaningful change through engaging in policy. And we need, which goes to the third point, more collaboration across the sector, coordination of leadership mechanisms, leadership at the local level for policy that can be tiered into the great work that, say, ONN does, and then into national mechanisms. And again, data sharing will be part of that. There may be shared administrative services, but really that kind of collaboration and collective response as opposed to individual organization response is going to be critical.